Well, welcome. My name is Kelly. If you don't know me already, I own Dogkind, and I specialize in fearful, feral, puppy mill rescue dogs, just really, really scared dogs. And the holiday season coming up is one of the toughest times for these dogs. There's a lot of change to routine, people coming and going. And so for the next few weeks, I'll be talking about ways to help your dog cope with this difficult period. Holiday planning for fearful dogs. This week I'll be talking about 3 really common challenges and ways to cope with them. Who is this for? This is for you. If you have an anxious or fearful dog, your dog struggles with changes to routine, and so you think the holidays are going to be stressful for them. Here are 3 really common and difficult changes to a dog's regular routine that happen around the holidays. One is visitors, of course, people in the house moving around, people's voices, a lot of entries, knocking, the doorbell, coming in and out of the front door. That's tough for a lot of dogs, not just fearful dogs. Daily care is another one. Things like meals and potty outings and enrichment and exercise. A lot of times schedules are off and dogs don't get quite as much attention or exercise as they do outside of the holidays. And then freedom. This is probably one of the toughest ones for a lot of your dogs. They are used to having a certain amount of freedom in the house. Perhaps they like to be close to you most of the time. Maybe they don't love being confined, but during the holidays, they might need to be confined more often and be separated from people more than they're used to. So what can we do? How can we help to reduce the disruption associated with these changes to routine? Number 1, call your vet right now if you haven't already talked to them about anti-anxiety medication for the holidays. This is an extra stressor, all the things happening during this time of year, and so your vet might recommend you try something extra for your dog to help them through this. And you will want time to try them out before the holidays, so that's why you should get in touch with them now. Okay, visitors. What to do about visitors? I'll show you some things that have been helpful for me with my dog Pancake, who doesn't like people. One thing I do is take Pancake out, actually all the dogs, out on a walk while the visitors arrive. We usually host holidays here, and that means that there's periods of time where there's a lot of traffic at the front door, people going back and forth to the car, carrying things in, little kids running around, and I find it's easiest for everyone if I just get the dogs out of the house during that time. So if you have that option, that might be a good one. The other thing that can help your dog cope, and that certainly helps Pancake cope with people in our house, is having him spend more time in his safe space with sound masking. That black circle kind of in the lower right of this picture is a white noise machine. And he's got toys in there and his bed, basically all the comforts he needs. And although you can't see it well in this photo, the like tan sheet you can kind of see on the right of the photo, those are visual barriers. So he's protected in his safe space. And the sound is masked somewhat because not so much anymore, but definitely the first several holidays we spent together, the sounds of visitors in the house really bothered him. Okay, so 2 things that can help with fear of visitors during the holidays is 1, take your dog out on a walk or a car ride if your dog is able to do those things. I know some of you have dogs who can't leave the house yet, but get them away from visitors somehow. And taking them out, especially during arrivals when people are knocking on the door, ringing the doorbell, that can be a big help to have the dog away during that time. And while people are in the house, having your dog in their safe space with sound masking and visual barriers can decrease stress as well. Okay, daily care is another area in which the routine often gets really disrupted during the holidays, like when they're eating, when and where they go out to go potty, what kind of exercise and enrichment they have. And here's what has helped me and Pancake with this area of routine disruption. One is, as best I can, I try to keep his meals and outings on the regular schedule. I can't always get it exactly right. There's a lot going on, as I'm sure is true for many of you. but as best I can to keep his regular schedule. Here he is eating a meal out of a number of food toys. I also try to make sure he has lots of enrichment, even extra enrichment, while we have people at the house. If your dog likes frozen food toys, that's something you can prepare ahead of time. It's sometimes hard when you're really busy with cooking or with visitors, wrapping presents, whatever, to give your dog the level of attention maybe they're accustomed to. So I like things that I can get ready ahead before it gets crazy. So here you can see a lot of food toys that have been prepped ahead of time and frozen. Another thing I do often over the holidays when I can is take the dogs out for extra long hikes. So they're actually getting a little more exercise than usual. They're also getting a break from the visitors because they're out of the house. And that helps Pancake nap more as well when he's back in the house and there are visitors moving around. He's a little less concerned because he's tired. Okay, so ways to combat daily care sort of problems, disruptions in routine during the holiday. Do your best to keep meals and outings like potty outings on the same schedule as usual. If you can, prep enrichment activities ahead of time, like frozen food toys can be a good one that you can store a lot of them ahead of time. And if your dog is going out on walks, schedule longer than usual walks, or even if their activity is going out in the backyard to sniff or play, try to give them a bit more of that during the stressful time. Okay, and finally, freedom. The loss of freedom during the holidays is pretty common actually for a lot of dogs, not just fearful dogs. But it can be a real problem if you've got a dog who is anxious around people, so they can't just be loose around people, but also maybe they don't want to be separated from you. That can cause some problems, and Pancake is definitely in that boat. So here are some things that I have found helpful with Pancake. One thing is he does need to be confined when there are little kids running around. He is not trustworthy when children are running around, but he doesn't really like to be confined away from me. And so when I can, I set up a confinement area that can be near me. Here he's in a crate that I've set up kind of tucked behind the sofa. And this was during present opening at a Christmas a few years ago. And you can see he has stuff to do there, but he's kind of shielded from the people that are on the other side of the sofa. And he was happier here because he could be near me still. Another thing to think about is whether your dog would be happier or less happy if their confinement is close to where the action is, where all the people are. During the holidays, a lot of times the kitchen is kind of the hub of activity, and that's true at our house for sure. And so here's one of Pancake's confinement options during the holiday. Here he's in our laundry room, and it's separated from the kitchen by a baby gate, and he can sit there and kind of see what's going on. And here he's eating out of his snuffle mat. And finally, if your dog is small enough to fit into something portable, or even if they're not, if they're a big dog, you could use a large crate as a semi-portable confinement option because you could move it around the house. But certainly with a smaller dog like Pancake, he has several packs and a sling and some other options that provide a level of confinement and containment so that he's not just loose with the guests, but he can still be near me. Here he is in his hiking pack, and he's poking his head out there while I'm eating, and then there are people on the other sofa next to me eating as well. And I can also add visual barriers, have more or less sort of visual obstruction of the people moving around by closing up the pack a bit or draping a towel or a blanket over it. So in summary there, to reduce the disruption associated with the dog having less freedom around the house, think about whether you could set up multiple confinement areas in locations that your dog's going to want to be in. And that may be away from people, or that might be near people or near you. So planning for routine changes. This is like I said, a tough one this time of year. Think about using walks or other sort of activities outside the house during times where people are coming and going, and using safe spaces liberally when visitors are in the house. Try to keep your dog's basic schedule if you can. Add extra exercise and enrichment if possible. And think about how you can confine your dog if they must be confined, and most of your dogs do need to be confined around visitors, where your dog wants to be anyway. Okay, I hope that helps. Don't forget to get your free guide, Caring for Your Fearful Dog, at dogkindtraining.com/care. And the next couple of videos will also address holiday stressors and strategies and training for challenges that arise over the holiday season. So stay tuned for that.